and welcome to Spicing Up Assessment using Schoology.
Take a second and look over the objectives. As we progress through this, we're going to be looking at what Schoology assessments can do for you. We're going to build an assessment or an item bank, depending upon which one is more beneficial to you. And then we're going to create some questions inside of that item bank. The first decision that you need to make is whether or not you want to create an item bank or not. There are pros and cons to doing this. You can, in making an item bank, you can collaborate with other members of your team and divvy up all of the different pieces and parts of your test, and then questions from that item bank will be available to you for later assessments, including for your finals. The benefits to item banks is the questions are stored in a shared area. You can pull questions into any assessments. You can create quizzes and randomize them. And you can, once again, work as a team to create the questions in order to save time. One of the negative things that you need to watch out for is the fact that once you put that item, a quiz item or a test item, into the item bank, you won't be able to edit it once it's saved. So you do have to be very, very careful and make sure that we're putting them in accurately. So to start this, the best thing that you could do in order to share with other people is to create a group in Schoology in your resources so that you can share that group with other people. So go to Schoology, click on groups, and then within groups, you're going to click on, in order to create the group, you just click on groups and then click on my groups and then create a group. Once you have that group created, then you're going to add resources and you're going to create.
Add item bank, I believe.
Add an item bank. Couldn't find it. Make sure that you name it something that makes sense to you and your team. And then you can also organize it by standard, by test, by unit, however it is that makes sense, the most amount of sense to you. And then you do, like I said, want to make sure that you carefully check and make sure that you don't have any errors because you won't be able to do it. And then share those test banks within your Schoology group so that everybody can have access to them and everybody can add to them.
To add questions to an assessment, you are going to create an assessment or select an assessment that you already have created in order to add questions to them. This is for if you've already created an item bank, which is containing these questions that you want to add. In the questions tab from your assessment, you're going to select add from item bank. And in that window, you can select individual questions which you'd like to import into your assessment. Just check the box next to the questions you'd like to import and import them. If you want to import all of them, you can select the box next to the auto select. One of the great features about using an item bank and importing your items from the item bank into your assessment is that you can randomize. So with this feature, you can insert a set number of randomly selected questions from the bank. So for example, if you're giving a test that covers multiple topics or multiple units, you could set it to select 3 numbers at random from this topic, 3 numbers at random from another topic. All you have to do is enter the values in the boxes that it prompts you for the number of items and the points per item, and then click add questions to complete that. This is really useful, especially when you're doing a final, which might contain a lot of different units. You can also use the item banks to organize. So as Sharon was talking about, when you collaborate with a team, you could break down your folders by standard. You could break down your folders by unit. Within those units, you could have multiple topics. If everything is organized by folders, you can have multiple questions pulled from each folder. The limitations to this is especially that it's a one-way flow. So you can, at this point, create an item bank first and add questions directly to that item bank. But what you can't do is create an item bank and pull in questions that you've already created for assessments. So it's a one-way flow. If you make a question in an assessment, that can currently never be moved to an item bank, whereas the reverse is true. If you make an item bank, you can move those questions to an assessment. And remember to double check your work. Once you have used a question in an assessment, that question cannot be edited in the item bank. You would have to duplicate that question and fix what you wanted to fix. So now that we have an item bank created, let's see what you can do in terms of adding questions. These are all the different types of questions that Schoology offers in the assessments option. Not all of these are auto-grading, but all of them can be created and used in assessments.
And you want to make sure that you're clicking on the Add Assessment as opposed to Add Test Quiz.
In pink, highlighted on the screen, are the items that Schoology will auto-grade. This includes the multiple choice, true, false, matching, ordering, fill-in-the-blank drop-down, fill-in-the-blank drag and drop, label image, highlight hotspot, highlight text, number line, and chart. And we're going to go through a few of our favorite item types to use with Schoology. The first is just your standard multiple choice question, which everybody knows how to use multiple choice questions. But one of my favorite things about Schoology multiple choice questions is that you can add stimuli such as a picture or even audio or video. And this could be useful for different subjects. Some subjects might need to have an audio clip. Other subjects have a picture, like I have a picture from my geography class here in this example on the screen. And you can have students have one correct response or multiple correct responses, and you can add as many options as you'd like. Those options can be shuffled, and you can set it to offer partial credit. So there's a lot of variation that you can use multiple choice questions for. The next type is matching, where you match a set of prompts to a set of possible answers. And one of the neat things that Schoology allows you to do is to use photos or equations as prompts. So in any of those blank boxes where you set up your items in your question, you can insert a photo or an equation or anything like that. And then you can also click on duplicate responses to use an answer more than once. So once you have that answer choice available, it can be used for multiple prompts. The next type, which has a lot of flexibility, is fill in the blank. And there are 3 different fill in the blank options. There's fill in with text, which where a student will have to type in an answer. That can be a little bit trickier with the grading portion of that to get those auto grading answers exactly right. But there's also fill in the blank drop downs and fill in the blank drag and drop. Fill in the blank drop down gives an option for the students to click on a menu to drop down and select answers from that menu. So this allows you to insert multiple questions within one item using the same prompt. Fill in the blank drag and drop provides a word bank of sorts of options down at the bottom for students to drag and drop into the correct blanks in the item. Label image is another one of my favorites. This is really useful if you want students to know the parts of something like a map or a graph or a photo, and you can add blank boxes and answer choices for students to drag and drop into those boxes.
Highlight image is one of my favorite. I use it a lot in math to be able to see how students are drawing a particular graph. In this particular image, you can see that the kids are drawing the direction of which the current is going. And they could also just handwrite the answer to a problem. So here's an example of a highlight image. You'll get a little recording and you can watch and see the students kind of draw through a linear equation or a quadratic equation or anything along those lines. Just drop a graph into the background, and then they can choose whatever color that they would like to draw their graph with.
There's also a lot of other tools that you can use as the instructor in your assessments that might be useful to you. So we wanted to make note of these. There are tools like audio and video question types where students can send you or submit an audio recording as their answer. So if you want students to speak something aloud as their answer, that's an option. You can also use the file upload question type to allow students to upload files with their submissions if they have something that they've created over time that you want them to upload as part of their assessment. And you can also insert audio and video recordings into your assessment questions for students to watch and then answer questions about.
Here are some additional resources. If you can click on any one of these links and they'll take you to some little videos that will help you and guide you through anything that we haven't already covered in this video, or if you just need a little bit more information.
Many of these go through some of the question types that we didn't choose to highlight today, so hopefully some of these will be useful to you. Thanks for watching.